Hello friends, I'm Sanyukta back again with a new Zentangle original pattern. The pattern is called Gourdgeous, yes, somewhat inspired from the look of the gourd, yes. And there were many more inspirations, and after a lot of working, Maria came out with this pattern, and many beautiful versions of the pattern have been given in the newsletter in which the pattern was launched. So let us learn how to draw this pattern Gourdgeous, and we'll also draw a simple tile using the pattern, right? So how does it start? The pattern starts like this, right? So what I have done here is a curve and kind of a half muka kind of shape on the top of the curve ending in a muka kind of a shape. And then what I'm going to do is make this section another section with the same curved kind of line, and then again repeat or aura the last line that I have drawn, right? Again make a section, right? Then again repeat or aura that section, again make one more section, right? Again add an aura. The aura that I am adding, I am taking it up to the head of the gourd. Again one more, right? Again it is up to you. You want to carry it till the end or you want to end it somewhere in between, right? Again a section, again an aura. You can end the aura somewhere here. Again a section, right? Again an aura. Again a section. So you can make it as big as possible, as small as you want, right? So now what we are going to do is the sections that we have created, I'm going to pick up my 08 and going to ink it, right? So when I'm creating these sections, I'm not going till the head of the gourd. Only when I am adding an aura am I traveling till the head of the gourd, right? I hope you noted that. Small thing that will help you draw it more easily, right? So again a very bold pattern because it has some really bold inked portions. Again inking is an option, although the original Tangle requires it to be inked. But the moment you deviate from the original and create a variation, you may not ink it. Instead, you may add some orbs, a tweed, some other designs, patterns, right? Tangulations. So, the possibilities are again unlimited the moment you deviate from inking these sections, right? But the original pattern has it inked, and the look of the pattern is quite much governed by this, right? So you can see how the pattern is turning out to be. These bold ink portions, right? So you can manipulate the shape of the pattern anyway. It is not that it has to look like this only. I'll show you a few examples, right? So it's not important that how does the pattern look, that it has to look like this only, but the process that I followed in making the pattern is what matters and gives it its character, right? So this is how our Gourdgeous looks. Now if you don't want to draw it this way, about shading part, I would generally add shade here and at the ends, right? Since the ink is still wet, so I'm not going to smudge it right now. Meanwhile, we'll just see how we can vary the shape. For example, let me draw something like this, right? We can also draw something like this. So the shape varies, right? So small curve here. So this curve thing that I have drawn here is pretty big. Again, right? So the curve is more. Again, sections, adding an aura to the section. Again, sections, adding an aura to the section, right? Come the other way. There is no hard and fast rule, you have to draw it that way only. Again an aura, right? Again a section and an aura, right? So can you see the look is so different here? You can add an aura in the end also, again the way you feel like this, right? So I have just flattened the base, and then when you again ink it, the look is different. Right? So just ink all these sections and you can also use a graphic one if you want, so that the filling is faster, but it's real fun to see your tile going black from white when there are bold inkings involved, right? So this is how the second version looks. You can see the difference in the look, right? There are many ways to draw it. For example, you can start with something like this, right? Then again add an aura. Keep the head straight, head of the gorgeous. Again add an aura, right? Again section. Again add an aura, right? Again a section. Again add an aura, right? Again a section. Again add an aura, right? So this way gorgeous will look different. Again, right? So if you fill this up, it will look like a standing gorgeous, right? So this is how the third one looks after you ink it, right? It's another variation or different look. Again, if you vary the width of these lines, again the look will vary, right? For example, if the dividers or the aura lines are pretty thin, then also the look of the gorgeous will be different, right? For example, what I am saying is, if these lines are just thin, right, then also the look of your gorgeous will vary, right? Very thin, right? The aura, I'm auraing very closely, right? Again, the look of the gorgeous will be different if the lines that you are auraing and taking it to the head are thin, right? So this is how we draw the pattern Gourdgeous, just to give you an idea. Let us now switch to drawing a tile using the pattern Gourdgeous. I'll be drawing it again and you can follow me, right? So in front of me is the regular tile, and let us draw a rough string. So let us draw a heart shape like this. Yes, and then use this shape for your Gourdgeous, right? Like this, right? So it's a rough string that I have drawn, and let us start right away. So what I'm going to do is use this string as a cube. Now create a section, again add an aura, again create a section, again add an aura, again create a section, add an aura, again create a section, add an aura, right? Again create a section, add an aura, create a section, add an aura, right? And the same exercise I am going to do on the other side also. So going all the way, right, and then create a section, again add an aura, go all the way, again create a section, add an aura, go all the way, right, again create a section, add an aura, go all the way, again create a section, add an aura, create a section, add an aura, create a section, add an aura, right? And there's no harm in inking the heart. We want it to show, right? So might as well ink it. So 2 Gourdgeous and a heart. Now going to ink it. O8 has a broad nib, so don't go till the ends, right? You may like to use the O1. Just fill up the main portions with the O8, right? So I'm going to do this and get back. So you can see here I have almost finished the inking part, just giving the final touches with my O1, because I avoid going till the ends with my O8 or graphic one, because it has a very broad nib. So just giving the final touches wherever little inking is left. Right. So these bold ink portions are the real look of the pattern. Although there's so many variations that you can create if you don't ink it. So just adding ink to the corners, the ends, wherever left. Right. So that's how the pattern gorgeous looks. Isn't it really gorgeous? Yeah. So now it is up to you. What do you want to do with the rest of the tile, right? So inside the heart, if you wish, you can add a pattern like Zentangle that we have already learned earlier. So I am drawing the crazy version. I am just drawing random lines, right? Not drawing the grid. And then I am going to aura these shapes, cutting the corners, right? So I'm rounding the corners, not going up to the end, and just auraing all these shapes that have been created from the inside, right? So we have already done this, learned the pattern earlier. So just auraing the shapes from inside, cutting the corners, not going till the end. So you can say I'm rounding the ends, right? Very simple pattern to draw, looks pretty good. Right, so this is how my heart looks. Yeah, right. Now it is up to you. What do you want to do with the rest of the tile? Let us keep it simple and add vertigo and leave the rest of the tile the way it is, right? So I'm going to add some vertigo, cutting across my tile, right? So all these patterns we have already covered in our earlier sessions, so I'm not repeating the process, just drawing these leaf kind of shapes, right? It is up to you. You can draw any other pattern of your choice. Please go ahead. Right. Drawing behind. And now what we are going to do is cut across these leaves that we have drawn, right? So going to cross them by drawing behind like this, right? On both sides. Again add a third layer if possible, wherever possible. Draw behind wherever possible. If not, please don't. Intention is not to make it congested, right? Again, wherever possible, drawing behind. Right? Again, doing the same exercise on the other side. Crossing I'm drawing behind. Right. Like this. Again, if there is a room for a third one, another layer, do that. Again, some more crossing if possible. Small little spaces, you need to be careful, right? So we'll do the same exercise here also. So this is how the pattern looks after completing it. Vertigo, some orbs here and there, just like Bronx chairs, right? Not many, few, wherever you find little space. Right. For the rest of the tile, it is up to you. You can leave it as it is or add some mukas if you wish to. Always welcome. If you want to stop there, you can stop there. Mukas come pretty handy as a filler. Mukas sprouts. Yeah, I think we should start shading our tile now, right? So yeah. A flux here and there, always welcome. Let us now start to shade our tile. So as far as the unzipple is concerned, I'm just going to shade, add some graphite at the edges. The bottom, from where lines are emanating or merging, the ends, the bottom. You can also shade on one side, that is, you can make one side of the gorgeous darker, or you can just add it at the bottom. It's up to you, right? So light and dark shading is also possible. Again, along the stem for my vertigo, right? Muka heads as usual, the pods, right? So let us now shade our tile. So I'm going to blend this, bring it towards the center, but not cover the entire center. Leave a white patch. Like this. Right? Again, blend this Again, blend what we have added on one side. Again, we have darkened one side of Gourdgeous, right? Again, blending along the stem. Again, the mucus. You can add some tipple here and there, right? Yeah. So adding some tipple here and there, wherever there is flux, it's a good idea to add some tipples. Looks nice. As it is, they are very much a part of the pattern flux, right? So some tipples here and there with the flux is always a good idea. Right. Right. So now I'm going to take my white charcoal and add some white charcoal in the center and highlight the part which I have not added grey, right? So the other part where we have not added grey, I am going to highlight it with my white charcoal. Make sure the grey is visible, it should be dark enough, only then the light and dark will show, right? Yep. So this is how our finished tile looks like. So I'm now going to initial my tile. Take a moment to appreciate your tile, right? Going to sign and date it. Today is 3rd. So we'll meet again. I'll post some other variations of the pattern Gourdgeous on my Facebook page. Few more tiles. Do have a look and stay safe. Goodbye.